Thankfully, we don't have any tornado warnings right now, but we are carefully monitoring the leading edge of this severe weather warning because this has that tornado possible tag on it for Cook, DuPage, and Will. Just because a little earlier with this squall line, the Weather Service did look at a little bit of weak rotation. So that was the concern. They didn't want to have this turn into a quick spin up. So what they tell us is they use that tornado tag for us. So we know to watch for that and to check out the velocity of it. Not only the wind speed itself of any damaging winds, but to see if we can find any rotation or any couplets is what we call them on radar. And we look for the different signatures showing up. But right now it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's go through these timings for Cook, DuPage, and Will. So that's Cook, DuPage, and Will right here until 9:45. Now Kane and Kendall on the back side of this, we also have that tornado possible tag, and that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 9:15. And right now we have a tornado warning. Okay, it's radar indicated, brand new, just in. Let's jump on air, can we? We'll pause for on air. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist. We have a tornado warning just issued for DuPage County and Kane County until 9:45. There are some circulations showing up on radar, and we are concerned about the chance for a brief tornado moving into this area. There are 3 separate circulations that we're looking at with this tornado warning that could produce a tornado at any moment. So we do want to tell you that there is a tornado warning now until 9:45 for DuPage County, much of it, and the edge of Kane County. So this is a tornado warning until 9:45. So we want to take a closer look at this cell. It is radar indicated at this moment, but we are starting to see, as well as the National Weather Service agrees, that this has the chance to produce some rotation. Now it is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. That's a little bit of a change from what we saw earlier. So we are going to take a track on this, take a look at this, so we can tell you what communities are in the track of this storm. So it is radar indicated, as we mentioned, and it is moving from Kane County into parts of DuPage County, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So we want to give you a storm survey on this and a track on this as it moves northeast at 40. That's the concern as it moves through really this portion of DuPage County. So it's a northeast movement that we can give you at 40 miles per hour, pulling away from Kane County and moving into DuPage and possibly to Cook if it were to hold together. So it's at 40 miles per hour. So we do want you to take cover in St. Charles at 9:08 for the possibility of damaging winds. Even if it doesn't spawn an actual tornado, a damaging wind threat is real. We've had wind reports anywhere between 50 and 60 miles per hour already with this squall line as it moved through western Illinois and our western suburbs. And now we have this tornado warning going into Naperville at 9:10, perhaps, Downers Grove at 9:21. So the time right now is 9:05. You have some time to go to the lowest level of your home, and you want to stay away from any windows and put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. And York, you are next on the line there at 9:26, then Schaumburg at 9:28, O'Hare 9:36, then Niles at 9:45, Jefferson Park 9:46, and then to Evanston at 9:55. We've been following this squall line all evening, and now we are seeing that there is some radar indication of rotation. So the National Weather Service went ahead with this tornado warning, which is in effect until 9:45, and that's because of the straight line wind threat, but also the rotation that is showing up on radar. So take a look at these communities. It's important that you take precautions now, go to the lowest level of of your home. St. Charles now 9:08 in the next 2 minutes. Naperville 9:10. Downers Grove at 9:21. Then into York at 9:26. Schaumburg 9:28. This could certainly hold together to O'Hare, Niles, Jefferson Park, and Evanston because it is part of a squall line. Now, the Weather Service also is issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Cook and DuPage until 10 o'clock tonight because of the positioning of this squall line as all of this moves eastward. But it's this particular cell that we are looking at that is moving to the north and east. And that's the one we are watching tonight for the chance of some tornadic activity. You can see this area right here may be showing some signs of rotation. And that's what we are carefully monitoring. And that's what the Weather Service is looking at as well for the quick spin-up chance of a tornado. So when we zoom in here, we are talking about the Winfield area, Milton, Warrenville, Naperville, Lisle. Right here is I-88 with the 355 corridor. So this is an area we are talking about. And there is a storm report that just came in from Fermilab with an 87-mile-per-hour wind gust. And that's from a personal weather station reported at the Kane and DuPage County line. That's just telling you how intense this is. So you do want to take cover in the lowest level of your home for the chance of a tornado. But damaging wind threats are almost likely along this cell as it moves eastward. So we are talking about this area between Winfield and Warrenville right here. That is one area that is possibly showing signs of rotation where the National Weather Service is expecting some very high winds there. So here's Winfield Road and Mack Road out there by Cantini Golf Course. That's an area that we are seeing this activity. Very strong winds. There are a lot of neighborhoods out in this area. And here's Roosevelt Road and Butterfield Road down to the south. So this area, okay, we have a confirmed tornado now just south of Wheaton. South of Wheaton. So maybe if Joe wants to join me down here, we can get into a little more coverage, but I want to widen out the picture so we can head to Wheaton and take a look at this because Naperville, Warrenville, this is the area that's seeing that very strong wind moving into Downers Grove. And let's take a look at the radar too so we can give you an idea of that very heavy rain that's coming from North Aurora, heading into Warrenville, heading into Naperville, and to Winfield as well. So we are seeing that the storm velocity feature is really showing us how now we are starting to see those very strong winds and the areas of rotation that are around there. But if you live in Wheaton, that is a place where you want to take cover in the lowest level of your home. We are getting a confirmed tornado just south of Wheaton, near your Glen Ellen, moving northeast at 45. So if you live in Glen Ellen or in Wheaton, northeast at 45 miles per hour. Those are both towns that you have to take cover right now because we do have the confirmation of a tornado on the ground. So that is the reasoning for this pink box to show up here to tell us that we actually have a confirmed tornado on the ground. So let's zoom in a little bit tighter to those areas and take a look at it. So we have Bloomingdale, okay, in West Chicago. Let's get in a little bit tighter here and find out if we can see that showing up on our radar at all. Here's 88 as we're looking at it, and then there's Warrenville. And then let's go a little bit farther to the north. And Lisle, that is another place you want to take cover. The tornado is right in this vicinity of Lisle. Let's take a look and just see if we see any of this debris factor showing up on our feature here, because the tornado that they are reporting is in the Lisle area and Glen Ellen. So if you're watching from Lisle or Glen Ellen tonight, you want to take cover in the lowest level of your home and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Stay away from windows because there is a confirmed tornado that is headed for Glen Ellen and for Lisle. This coming in from the National Weather Service. They have confirmation of a tornado. And again, Glen Ellen heading into the Glen Ellen and Lisle area. So there is a tornado warning that's in effect. Here's 88. Here's Route 53 here. We're very close to the Morton Arboretum here. We're very close to the Lisle train station here. We're close to Benedictine University here. This is a confirmation of a tornado on the ground. So if you are watching from Glen Ellen and from Lisle or from Wheaton, you do want to take cover in the lowest level of your home and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And you definitely don't want to be looking out the window or trying to take pictures of it, because you will never see it with the heavy rain that's out there, and also it's dark out there and it's a confirmation of a tornado. That's the indication here with this pink box that we see here. So we want to track this out obviously for you as it moves east and northeast. The movement on it is going northeast at 45. So there is a confirmed tornado over Glen Ellen. Okay, over Glen Ellen, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So maybe the update for our graphic there can say Glen Ellen, and that's at 45 miles per hour. And it is over Glen Ellen, moving northeastward. So we are looking at this area near I-88 and 355. I'm going to have to give myself some more real estate here. And we can time this out for you, because I want you to take cover in Downers Grove too at 916, and in York at 922, and if it were to hold together, Addison 925, even the O'Hare area. So if you are on this list or anywhere in between, and especially near Glen Ellen and Lisle, and even the Wheaton area, you do want to take cover in the lowest level of your home. We have a confirmed tornado that is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour, and it's confirmed headed for Glen Ellen and headed for Lisle. So both of those communities, you need to take cover in the lowest level of your home, away from windows, and you don't want to be outside, that's for sure. So Downers Grove 916, York 922, Addison 925, then O'Hare at 932, Jefferson Park 940, Evanston 948, and Rogers Park 948. So you can get an idea as it moves northeast at 45 miles per hour. These are the communities where you should be taking cover in the lowest level of your home, because we do have that confirmation of a tornado on the ground, and it's headed for Glen Ellen and for Lisle. So please take cover. And as we mentioned the other day when we saw the damage the next morning, when you're taking cover, maybe put on a pair of shoes, because then when you have to go outside and there's debris everywhere, at least your feet are covered. Now, they are continuing the tornado warning until 9:45. We have straight line wind damage over Lombard now, as that strong cell moved overhead. And these are the times that are in the path of that tornado warning. It is 9:14 right now, and at 9:16 we expect Downers Grove to have damaging winds. York at 9:22, and then to Addison at 9:25.
Hey, Mary Kay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious about the tornado warning. I think I might be able to maybe help you reset some of your computers here as well, if you need to do that while we're discussing. But my question is, that tornado warning, when it was initially issued, it was for DeKalb and Kane counties. Is that going to move into Cook County, or does it stay where it is now? Does that make sense?
The concern was that when it was in DeKalb County, it was a severe thunderstorm warning with a possible tornado tag on it. Now, this was a severe thunderstorm warning, and then it got upgraded to a tornado warning because of the confirmed tornado. And yes, it is on track to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Now, the latest from the Weather Service, they're saying the tornado debris signature has dissipated, but we are carefully watching several areas of circulation in DuPage County. So, Joe, I think DuPage County is our hot spot right now for the possibility of rotation. And that's what we're looking at here. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so you could take a closer look at what we're talking about. This area right here, that's where we have most of the strong thunderstorm activity. And it's all moving northeast. And, you know, anytime you start to see these little hooks and curves on the leading edge of it, any of that could start spinning up a quick, brief tornado. And that's the concern tonight from the National Weather Service. So now the strongest circulation really is affecting Bloomingdale. So that's the area now that we're watching for the chance, and so is the Weather Service, for some possible rotation. So it's right on the edge here of the tornado warning, and this is in Bloomingdale that we're watching. So we're going to switch over to the velocity mode and take a look at this area because we have strong winds from West Chicago and Wayne, but it's really around Bloomingdale where we are looking for a quick spin up. Now, sometimes when we have these really fast hook spin ups, all of a sudden, they don't show up like a true couplet like we would normally see when we talk about the red next to the green, and you can see it all coming together in one little bullseye. Sometimes when they're quick spin-ups, they don't appear that way and they don't present themselves that way, so they move through so quickly. And also on top of it, not only are we dealing with the chance of rotation or quick spin-ups, but we're also seeing damaging wind threats. And damaging winds have been so impressive with this system as it has moved through. And I think that's the case because when you're talking wind gusts between 60 and 70 plus miles per hour, that can create a lot of damage. That's tropical storm force wind moving through. But right now, the Bloomingdale area is a place where we are watching for circulation. We're watching for that very heavy rain now to start moving in. And yes, you have that tornado warning as well. I'm going to back this up just a bit so you can see those warnings again, where we have it right here for Bloomingdale, for York. This area here is what we're concerned with because this line has been moving through all evening, and now it's a broken line instead of that strong squall line, but individual cells have intensified. And that's the problem with this because they are showing signs of intensification, and that one has produced the tornado warning. Here's a clear sign of it right here. It's northeast DuPage County, but that's uncomfortably close to places like Schaumburg and O'Hare and all the other populated places as we get to the North Shore. So because of the movement to the north and the east. But this is the wide view of the cell we're looking at from that whole squall line. It kind of broke off and intensified by itself. And of course, it's right over our most populated area. And the concern is this corner here, right in northeastern DuPage County. So that's where we have the tornado warning. Let's reset this until 9:45. It's for DuPage County right now, and it's radar indicated rotation for this current warning right now, moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So as you can see, the squall line itself has weakened in the middle, weakened to the north. But there are two cells, one to the south that has been very strong, and then this one. Now, the one to the south had severe thunderstorm warnings with it, but now that has weakened just a bit, so the warning dropped off of it. But what we have with this one is a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of it for the city of Chicago, just because of the track of it, because it's going to the northeast at 45 miles per hour, and that's the concern of it. So it's just to the north of Downers Grove here, and it is headed toward the Schaumburg area, toward O'Hare, and toward the lakefront eventually if it were to hold together, you know, as a rotating storm. But it's moving northeast now, and it's going at 45 miles per hour. So let's put a fresh track on it for you because we're going to see this damaging wind threat and the possibility of a tornado moving into York at 9:23. The time right now is 9:19, so 9:23 for you in York. Elk Grove at 9:30, at O'Hare at 9:32. So here we go again with the airport getting under a possible severe weather situation. Humboldt Park, 9:42, and then to Evanston at 9:47. So this is the main game right now that we're watching, this tornado warning, and it has moved out of Kane County now, so it's just for DuPage County, and that's in effect until 9:45. But severe thunderstorm warnings do expand all the way through Cook County because of the movement of this cell to the northeast. So
Mary Kay, can you walk us through where that last sighting was, that confirmed sighting that was headed toward Glen Ellen that had just and near Lyle? Where does that stand right now?
Yeah, so now that is just a severe thunderstorm. Thankfully, that rotation kind of dissipated.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, because on the edge of these, you have to be so careful when you start seeing these little hooks and curves on it when it was all moving eastward, especially when we look at the velocity signature on it. It just really kind of shows you the power of the winds, but also you got to watch right about here to see if there are any rotations from it. Let's see, we're getting a spotter report now of 50-mile-per-hour winds in Lombard, straight line winds to 45 there also. So strong wind reports keep coming in, 45, 50 miles per hour, but they have been stronger. Okay, so even without any tornadoes, the Weather Service is saying we could still see wind gusts to 70 miles per hour. And we're talking about even the city. So that is what we're stressing now with this warning as it's coming through northeastern DuPage County here in the Downers Grove area. So I'll widen this out just a bit so you can get a better idea of how that cell is closing in on the city of Chicago. So we are talking about the city and central Cook County and northern Cook County. We could see wind gusts to 70 miles per hour. The tornado warning itself is for the northeast corner of DuPage County. And then the severe thunderstorm warning is into Cook County, just to account for that damaging wind threat as this cell moves east. So it's interesting to see now how the squall line has broken up a bit. In fact, that cell down to the south in LaSalle is no longer under a warning. They have let that go. This is the only game in town, and it is showing that weak rotation. But the big issue is the damaging wind threat. So as we go through time this evening, we are going to be watching this cell move into Cook County. You can see these orange boxes around Cook County indicating a severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning is right here in northeastern DuPage County. So if you live in northeastern DuPage County, those are places where you want to take cover in the lowest level of your home because of the possibility of a tornado. Now, the Weather Service is also watching the edges of these around Bloomingdale, around York. That's another spot we have to be very cautious of on the leading edge of this for the possibility of any rotation. Same with Downers Grove and into LaGrange as well. When you start seeing these little fingers or these little hooks coming out of the edge of this, not only could you get a quick spin up on the front of it as it's moving east, but overall, the squall line itself has the history of just creating these damaging straight line winds. So you're almost getting a combination chance of both issues. So we could have a quick spin up of a tornado, but we also could see damaging winds. And the winds could be up to 70+ miles per hour. So those are some serious winds now that are moving from DuPage County into the western portions of Cook County, highly populated areas here. You can see the heavy rain associated with this. There's also a lot of lightning around this system as well as it moves eastward. And I think that as the timing goes on, we'll get back to this tornado warning here because I want to update you on the latest with that. But we are looking at Bloomingdale and York and possibly even Melrose Park as well. It's almost hard to see because there's so much rain on the radar. But the tornado warning in effect here for another few minutes. And let's see, the Weather Service is saying the most concerning circulations are what we were just zoomed in on. And those are Bloomingdale and also moving toward O'Hare for us as well. And then we're looking into the near far western suburbs of Melrose Park, Bellwood, River Grove, River Forest. So your areas may be under the gun here for some damaging winds. And on the edge of this, that's our concern to perhaps have a quick spin up of a tornado. So we're watching the O'Hare area very carefully as this storm is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. And the warning itself, if I want to just kind of back it up for you to show you, is showing that we are under this tornado warning until 9:45 for the corner of DuPage County. This is a radar indicated tornado warning, and the Weather Service is watching carefully to see any signs of rotation. But the issue is, as this strong cell, severe cell, moves into Cook County, that's when you can see those winds that could gust to 70 miles per hour. And that would create a lot of damaging winds as we move right into the heart of the metro. So, okay, good news. The tornado warning is gone. It's been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning. So now we're just talking about straight line wind damage. The tornado warning for DuPage County has been dropped. And now we're focusing on DuPage moving into Cook. The radar's getting pretty messy, I know, because you're starting to see this fan out. But the one to the south, if you're in Ottawa or Morris, yes, you have very heavy rain. You probably have a lot of thunder and lightning, but that is not severe anymore. The only severe complex we're looking at is right here, and the problem is it is moving closer to the heart of Cook County and also northern Cook County as well. So we can take a closer look at that and track that, because as it moves into the city, it is going to bring those very strong winds. And again, the damaging wind threat is still present over Downers Grove, stepping closer to you in Schaumburg, though, and this whole line is moving to the east. And it's starting to show those edges that are kind of hooks and curves, and that tells us that you have chances to watch for rotation just in case you get a quick spin up on the edge of it. And I think that's what the Weather Service, when they issue those warnings, that's exactly what they're looking for. So right now it's 9:26, and Schaumburg, you are probably just in on that very strong wind there. O'Hare shortly at 9:33. So here we go again with a severe cell moving right over the airport. Then it's going to be moving into Little Village as well. Now here's a live look at O'Hare. Wow.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, I can imagine they're all taking cover and stopping things there, because we have a lot of lightning around with this complex too as it came through.
It was interesting to me, Mary Kay, earlier in the evening, you and I were talking at your computer, and there were things that you saw bubbling up that you knew the tornado warning was imminent. And the other thing that's so important about this, as we play this out, our First Alert Weather is able to just literally pinpoint what's happening at this moment and anticipate wherever you are when this storm will be heading your way. As we look at the clock right now, 9:27, Elk Grove was due at 9:30, O'Hare around 9:32, 9:33, and then due into the Chicago area at about 9:48. But the good news is the tornado warning has now been canceled. That was the highlight of what was a concerning pattern that was moving this way. There was a confirmed tornado at about 9:11 in the Lyle and Glen Ellen area, so folks there were certainly on alert. Wheaton as well. That was one thing that was probably the worst of this little system that came through, and it reminds us a lot of what happened on Wednesday night, where the National Weather Service is now saying they had 13 confirmed tornadoes Wednesday night. As we know, we saw a lot of extensive damage around the area, especially in Elgin and a number of other suburbs. Wednesday night was a wild one. And talking with Mary Kay and Albert after the fact, there were elements of that storm Wednesday night that they really hadn't seen, or certainly hadn't seen in a long time. Even Albert and Mary Kay both mentioning the fact that these radar signatures weren't necessarily impressive, but the concern was that everywhere you looked, there was the potential for one of these tornadoes to spin up. And as we know now, at least 13 did on Wednesday night. So coming up on 9:30 right now, Mary Kay's back with us. The warnings that are in effect right now are what?
The severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in effect are still in for the city, and we have them in for DuPage County, the corner of Will. So this is really the core of the system, starting to move closer to the city, also to O'Hare, also to the North Shore. The issue is that with this severe thunderstorm warning, we have that tornado possible tag on there because of the rotation earlier with some of these cells. But the issue too is straight line wind damage. We could see winds gusting 70+ miles per hour as this storm complex moves from DuPage County into Cook. And you can see that right here is the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 9:45 this evening. Storms are moving northeastward. Be prepared here in north and central Cook County. That's where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings for now. So we are going to, you can join us on our stream on CBSNewsChicago.com. We are going to continue to analyze the radar and follow the storms as they move into the city. But for now, I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist. Okay. Can you put the chat back up, please, in the touch?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah. Well,
thank you both for joining us here on the stream.
Thank you.
Stream whenever you want, wherever you want. We won't judge you. Keep streaming.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to learn about each other. I feel that in this city. And I do still pinch myself when I'm driving in on Kennedy and see the skyline, unless there's terrible traffic.
Here's what you get with your average local news stream. Here's what you get with CBS News Chicago. More breaking live coverage. A closer look at the inauguration of the new mayor. More impactful interviews.
Today, we're finding solutions.
More First Alert weather team coverage.
There's all the clouds we've been dealing with all morning long.
More live content when you want it, wherever you are. CBS News Chicago. More of what you're streaming for.
Cutting the cord on cable? Stream CBS 2 News live every day on CBS News Chicago.
I want you to find.
I believe in not just talking about change, but being part of the change. And how I think you do that is you impact our youth. You'll find me all the time out in the community. You'll find me mentoring. You'll find me there hoping to inspire our youth in the city. We have a responsibility to go into our neighborhoods, to go into our community centers, to talk to our young boys and girls, and to be there for them. And that's so important to me.
I'm meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist. We are going to update you now on this damaging wind threat. We have the severe thunderstorm warning for Cook County now. Central, northern Cook County, southern Lake, also the edge of Will County and all of DuPage County. And this is in effect until 9:45, just because we have the chances here on the backside of this for some strong winds. Now, the severe thunderstorm warning for Cook County and Cook and Lake has been extended through the 10 o'clock hour, just because we are going to see those very strong winds pull from DuPage County into Cook County, and we are watching for the chance of any rotation with this. But we could easily see winds between 40 and 60 miles per hour with this storm complex. That's almost likely, but they could gust even higher. We're talking winds could gust 60 to 70 miles per hour, and this severe thunderstorm warning has a tornado possible tag on it, so we want to be mindful of that just in case there's any rotation. Now, when we look at the radar too, it's looking kind of messy as compared to before, when we had a very distinct squall line of thunderstorms as they were moving into the western suburbs. Now it's broken up a bit. We have heavy rain in Morris. This cell no longer severe. It was severe earlier, but now it is just heavy, heavy rain. It's up here what we're looking at for the stronger portion of the storm itself. So we're going to get in a little bit tighter and show you how that particular cell is starting to make its move into the O'Hare, Schaumburg area, and also we're watching southern Lake County to get in on this as well. Movement has been to the northeast at 45 miles per hour, so we're going to see those high winds now get closer to the actual city. So we're seeing heavy rain starting to develop and get closer. It's over 294, but then the high winds are going to be moving over the Kennedy, the Ike, and the Stevenson as well as this whole cluster of thunderstorm activity tracks eastward. Now, it is shrinking in size, but the intensity is still there, and the risk of possible rotation is still there. So we've been monitoring this to see if there are any further rotations or quick spin-ups for any tornadoes. And when we see this ragged edge to the radar and the history of this whole squall line when it prompted the tornado warning earlier, we want to make sure that we're not finding anything in the way of rotation. But velocity, our Doppler winds are showing us those high winds right here, those light pink areas right around Schaumburg. That's telling us right now that is where our strongest winds are. And we're starting to see those really pick up here around Mount Prospect, around Elk Grove, and there's O'Hare to the south and South Barrington. I'll move this map up just a little bit so we can take a look at some of these areas between Schaumburg and O'Hare Airport. So O'Hare Airport now just reported a wind gust of 58 miles per hour. That's a strong wind, and that will definitely be able to create some damage. So you want to know about this because any kind of damaging wind threat when you're talking winds that high. So we could try to plot around and see if we could find some of these higher winds. There's a lot of data here, though, but basically I'm finding winds 35 to 45 miles per hour right along this vicinity here. But the report from O'Hare that came in with that 58 mile per hour wind gust. So it's very windy here around Elk Grove Village, around O'Hare, around Des Plaines, and also I noticed a pocket of that a little farther to the south as well as we get into Elmwood Park and Oak Park and Berwyn. So now we're starting to run along the Ike here, strong winds and also heavy rain. If we switch back to the radar, you can see that heavy rain from Bellwood is moving eastward to you. It's heavy in Lyons right now, but this is all moving into Little Village, into Berwyn, into Oak Park and Elmwood Park in the form of heavy rain. So downpours are likely, but the damaging wind threat, I think, has been the greatest. So far, I have not received hail reports of any significance, even though we were kind of expecting that. It seems like this is mostly a damaging wind event with the threat of some rotation, with some possibility of a quick spin up of a tornado. So we have one cluster of storm activity here running from Willow Springs to Midway, right along the Stevenson and I-55 here. That is very heavy rain pushing to the east. Also damaging winds may accompany some of this rain. Then to the north, I think the northern part of this is actually stronger when we look near O'Hare and near Bloomingdale and Schaumburg. Bloomingdale's been a place where we've had some rotation with some of the storms that we've been monitoring very carefully. But now all of that heavy rain and wind is starting to move into Des Plaines and O'Hare and eventually into Wheeling and Northfield as well, and it'll make its way for the North Shore too. So be on the watch for that. We have some downed trees in Naperville. We have the O'Hare storm report of a 58 mile per hour wind gust. The storm spotters are out and about giving us official reports, and the Weather Service is passing those along to us as this high wind event moves into the Chicago metro. So we're seeing the heavy rain now right along the highway there as it's moving east from Elmhurst and from Schaumburg, headed into the city itself. And it's moving pretty quickly at about 45 miles per hour. But the problem is it's carrying those winds that are at 45 to 50 miles per hour with some higher gusts. And the radar is starting to get pretty ragged looking, even though it's intense. We're starting to see these rain showers move through O'Hare now and then get into Midway also on the tail tail end of that at 9:46. I was curious to see the timing for the actual downtown city of Chicago, and that would be at 9:53. So right before 10 o'clock here, we're going to see this rain move into Chicago. It's very heavy in nature, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the city because of this complex of rain. It is moving east at 45 miles per hour, so I'm going to back this up here and show you where we do have all of the warnings. Right now, they are focused here closer to the lakefront until 10 o'clock tonight. Let me clear this for you. Okay, so 10 o'clock tonight for Cook County, and then the extreme northern part of Cook and into Lake, that is until 10:15. And then this one down to the south is about to expire here at 9:45 for the southwest corner of Cook County and much of DuPage as well. So we're talking through 10 o'clock that we are going to be dealing with this severe thunderstorm as it moves through the city of Chicago. There is the tornado possible tag on there just because the history of these this evening as this squall line moved in, showing some signs of rotation. Radar is active tonight. Heavy rain and thunderstorm activity to the south, but our severe thunderstorm warning is for the city of Chicago as everything is moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. We've been watching carefully for any kinds of rotation on this. I'm not seeing it at this point, but we are getting the idea that very high wind action is possible here as we get into Evanston and the North Shore and the city and Skokie, and from Elmhurst all the way to the lakefront. Basically, we're going to see this move to the east and northeast at 45, bring with it that damaging wind threat, and those winds could gust 40 to 60 miles per hour. Now, the Weather Service also is talking about some higher isolated wind gusts as well, and that's certainly possible. But if you're in Inglewood tonight, you can see this wall of rain is starting to ride the Stevenson, getting closer to you, and it's a severe thunderstorm warning for the city of Chicago, and that's in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. Schaumburg, the airport, that's another place where we have had high winds and also some very intense rain along this busy area. So here's O'Hare, here's Des Plaines, Wooddale and Roselle and Bloomingdale, and all of this heavy activity is moving northeast. So from Elmwood Park to Jefferson Park to Morton Grove to Northfield, those are spots that are going to be seeing this next. Now we have a brand new storm report coming in from Schaumburg, and that is a wind gust of 70 miles per hour. So that just tells you how powerful this storm is. Schaumburg, a wind gust to 70. That severe cell, though, is now finally east of you. So what this tells us is that it has the potential, this cell, to produce a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust like we saw in Schaumburg. And right now it's moving into Des Plaines, moving into O'Hare, moving into Wooddale. So all of these areas should prepare for that chance of a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust, knowing that this cell just came out of Schaumburg, creating that high wind. On the north end of this, we're seeing the same thing. From Northfield to Niles to Gulf to Jefferson Park, you also could see those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So the damaging wind threat, I think, is the biggest issue tonight for us as this storm is getting closer to the lake, but it still has some real estate to deal with, and that could bring damaging wind threats to the area of Cook County, northern Cook and central Cook County. DuPage County is looking a little bit better as this starts to pull away from Bloomingdale, but it is starting to focus on Cook County. So the leading edge of the storm line is starting to move toward the Cook County lakeshore areas. There still could be pockets of winds over 60 miles per hour here in the next 10 minutes. So between now and 10 o'clock, I think we're going to be watching for those extremely high winds here for the city of Chicago, for the North Shore especially, and for this area down to the south. So as we take a live look at O'Hare, you could just see the incredible amounts of lightning out there. And boy, the winds have been very high with a 70-mile-per-hour gust. That is pretty significant for it to be that high. And that's a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for the O'Hare area and also for the city of Chicago. So for the next 10 minutes here, we're going to be watching winds to 60 across southern Lake County too. Don't forget that, because you are also part of this severe thunderstorm warning. And so we're talking about Deerfield, Highland Park, the North Shore, all those areas. And this is a live look at O'Hare now. Just lightning strike after lightning strike, just telling us about the intensity of this storm. So to recap here, the current warnings that we have out are severe thunderstorm warnings now for these. Okay, so now they just dropped the DuPage and the western parts of Cook, but it's the heart of the city, and it's also southern Lake County. Some good news here. They have dropped the tornado possible tag because I think this is, I agree, it's going to be more of a wind damage event of straight line winds. And we are seeing the greater chance for damaging winds more so than the chance of a tornado. So severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect until 10:15 for Southern Lake and the edge of Cook right here, and until 10 o'clock for the city of Chicago. So as we get into Wilmette and the North Shore, it's probably going to be an area that's going to be hit with the damaging winds as the storms push for the lakefront. So until about 10:15, that's when you'll be clear from this. Everything to the south is not severe. So we're going to sign off for now live, but we'll be back at 10, of course, with all the updates. But just know the severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 10 o'clock for the city of Chicago.
Thank you both for joining us here on the stream.
Thank you.
Stream whenever you want, wherever you want. We won't judge you. Keep streaming.
When I think about growing up in Evanston, a lot of it is family. It's a real foundational feeling that's never left me. I love the commitment to surviving winter. I love the drive to always be better. I love the passion for our sports teams, taking advantage of those last warm days of summer. There's endless opportunity here to